Man, I never thought this day was gonna come, but it's here. Somehow, some way, surprisingly, the day is here that I film a video for YouTube. It's been a long couple weeks. I think I haven't uploaded in 4 weeks now, something like that. I've been really slacking, but I have my reasons for that, and I'm gonna share them with you. So about a month ago, a little over a month ago now, I started filming a video for some more winter upgrades, and one of them being fuel injectors. Made this whole video, long video, and I might throw some clips in still, but long story short, that whole time filming was useless because I was having issues with the injectors. The injectors that I've ran in this car since day one were the OG Snake Eater 1500s, the ones that were only in stock a few times out of the year, and if you didn't buy them right at, midnight or whatever it was, you weren't getting them. And I have no complaints with them at all. I always made sure they were cleaned on the winter. I always made sure the car never sat too long on E85. I always made sure everything was good on them, tip-top shape, so I never had any issues. So the Pro Series came out, got some of them, put them in the car, and I was just having issues. It just wanted crazy amounts of fuel, like 100% VE, and obviously that means something's wrong. So then all of a sudden the next day the car wouldn't start. It would start up, rev up, boom, and die 2 seconds. The logs were identical. I swear I probably have 50, 60 logs of them. Just trying to pinpoint and diagnose what could be causing that. So I got a hold of Brad, Snake Eater, and he sent me out another set. I said, I really wouldn't mind just trying some 210s because it's a common thing that everybody runs 210s. So I figured if everybody else has good luck with them, then I might too. He sent me out another set of 1500s and then a new set of 210s. I get them really quick. I put them in, still the same problem. So I'm like, there's no way that two injectors, Bosch injectors, not Chinese, there's no way that Bosch injectors, 2 sets of them could be doing this. And, having problems like this, it's like, it'll drive you crazy. And it did drive me crazy because I'm just trying to figure out what is going on. I'm trying everything. I'm making posts. I'm putting myself out there because everybody's got something stupid or smart to say when I make a post on groups and all that. So I was just desperate at that point. I'm like, there's no way that 2 sets of Bosch could be doing this. So I put the set of 210s in, same thing. Let's back up a little bit. I sold my OG 1500s to somebody in Mexico. I forget the guy's name. He's got a WS6 right on the Mexican border of Texas. And before I shipped them out, I did a little test where I put them back in. Well, I put them back in and the car started right up and ran as great as it ever has. So then that's when the 2 sets of 210s and 1500s came. Like I said, back to not starting, not running, and just driving me crazy. So I'm like, what's different from a Deca and a Bosch? So just as a test again, we had some stock truck flex fuel injectors, some 33 pounders that I threw in the Trailblazer SS intake. So I threw them in there and it started right up. It was struggling, obviously, with that small of an injector, but it started up and it ran great. I'm like, okay, something's gotta be wrong with these injectors. Everybody kept saying the same thing. Data's wrong. I'm like, the data's not wrong. They have 210s in the Holly, and I have the injector data from Snake Eater. All the data is correct. It's exactly what it's supposed to be. Oh, once again, driving myself crazy every day after work. I'm here messing with something, hoping it'll just magically start up, and it just never did. Now I'm trying to make this as short as possible because most people, this is probably just boring. You want to see racing and driving. It doesn't sound like much, but this is literally 2-3 weeks of me just messing with stuff, thinking it's something in the Holly. Just off the top of my head, I tried a wizard tune. I've tried to change the relays. I've checked fuses. I've reset the battery, reset the Holly, unplugged the battery. I've made new Holly files. I've I've deleted Holly completely off my laptop, re-downloaded it, saved all my files, uploaded that, nothing. I've cleaned the fuel filters again. I boost leak tested it. I manifold, vacuum tested it. I tried to add more gas. I messed with the fuel pressure sensor. I've messed with the fuel pressure. I've probably changed the fuel pressure 20 times. I ohm checked the injectors. I checked the injector harness. I checked every connector. I used a Noid light. I asked a million people. I've had so many people that I send my tune file to, and I just want to say I appreciate everybody for the help and suggestions, and I appreciate everybody that I sent my file to and you checked it over and just to make sure everything was right. I appreciate that because there's a lot of people that won't take the time out of their day to do that. So I 100% appreciate everybody for the help. There's a lot of people involved in this whole injector saga. A lot of people, time invested and curious to what the problem was and everything. So that's why I'm making this video. So all that is just off the top of my head. I mean, it's probably triple of that I've done to verify everything. I mean, oh, new O2 sensor. I mean, I've spent a lot of money and a lot of time trying to figure out what's going on. One big thing was I even got a whole new intake manifold because I thought the Trailblazer one was leaking. So I mean, I was 100% invested and determined to figure out what was going on, or else I was going to go crazy, or I was going to leave the car parked here all year and just not care about it because I was at that point. So as we were running the flex fuel truck injectors, the 33 pounders, we were messing with the throttle blade a little bit. We opened up the throttle blade pretty much as open as it would get. The screw was all the way bottomed out, and that actually had it running. So we're thinking, okay, well, it's got to be something dealing with the IAC or the throttle blade. So took the IAC out of my dad's car right here, swapped them, and it started up. It was good. Everything was good. But on the other side of that was his starts up great too with my old one that I thought was bad. So kind of like a weird situation right there. So I mean, we were getting somewhere definitely. So I ended up putting the 210s back in, had it starting, had it running, but the problem was it was wanting like crazy amounts of fuel, like unreal amounts, and it's like something's got to be wrong still because it would not want 110% VE at idle. So what ended up happening was I took them down to JCL Injector Services in Darlington, Maryland. Check them out if you're local to Baltimore, Maryland, anywhere in Maryland. Great work, fast, and very knowledgeable. But I drive all the way up, about an hour away, with these 210s. Flows them, and they're perfect. I was hoping that one of them or two of them wasn't firing, and everybody said 100% something's wrong, they're not firing. Well, they ended up being perfect. I mean, 0.03 or 0.04% variant. They're on point. While we were flowing them, the static flow ended up being 1680. Dennis didn't pick up on that until later that night. He asked me if I could call him, and he said when he did the static flow, they only ended up being 1680. He said a 210, that's way too low for a 210. That sounds like they're 160s, aka 1500s. That sparked in my brain. I'm like, maybe they got mixed up when I got them. Maybe I mixed up the paperwork, or maybe before they were sent to me, the paperwork was mixed up. It's a chance that could be what happened. So that night, I've been on Google looking up pictures of 210s, and I'm like, that's exactly how my 1500s look. So then I looked at what I thought was my 1500s, and I seen NGI2. And apparently from what I saw, Bosch 210s are the only ones with that on them. So this whole time, my 210s were really my 1500s. And my 1500s were really my 210s. So this whole time I'm putting in injector data wrong and wondering why it needs a bunch of fuel. So that next morning, I woke up, I came here, I put the 210s in, I kept the 210 data, and it fired right up. And it's been running good since. It's just a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. I'm so relieved. And all the time that I've wasted and over something stupid that was mislooked. Something that I assumed was in the right position because each one had a nice little box with them. I wasn't even mad. I was just happy and relieved. And yeah, we're all good now. I haven't drove it yet. I'll probably be driving that in the next video, getting some fuel tuning dialed in because the fuel is so out of whack now. It still wants a bunch of fuel, but maybe that's just a 210 thing. I don't know, but I don't even care. It wants 75% VE at idle. It's a 4.8, so I mean, it's not that far off. My old 1500s, it wanted like 65, so I'm just gonna deal with it. I mean, I'm not gonna run out of injector. It is what it is. Everything that I checked was right, so I'm not really too worried about it. It's all right. I'll work it. Just like I worked out the other ones. I spent a lot of time working on the cold start and the idle and all that because, you know, you want your car to run good. So I spent a lot of time doing that and learning what everything does and how it works. So long story short, the first set, who knows what was wrong with them? You know, maybe the data was messed up. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not pointing the finger at nobody. It could have been my installation fault. Who knows? So the IAC needed to be adjusted, or the throttle blade and the IAC needed to be adjusted, and I had the wrong data this whole time. And like I said before, I admit it. I'm not a professional. I'm a novice. I'm learning all this as I go. It's a lesson learned, and it won't happen again. I know that. But to finish all this off, I just want to thank Brad at Snake Eater for dealing with me. We talked for 2 days straight when I was dealing with all this, and he did everything in his power to make sure I was good and make sure I was up and running. I missed a lot of track days. I missed some no prep races that I really wanted to go to, but that's part of all this. I've learned that part of all this, it's stressful. It can drive you crazy, but you just got to keep pushing. Don't give up. Eventually, it'll all make sense. It'll all click. And the more you do this, the more good you'll be at it. Like I said, this is my first car doing this kind of stuff, first car in this caliber. Every other car I've had before this was like a quarter intake and an exhaust. That's about what I knew how to do, and that was with help. So this is all learning experience. I'm not afraid to admit that. Like I said, I'm far from a professional, but I'm learning, and I think I'm doing pretty good at understanding everything and learning. And shops never touched this car, a tuner's never touched this tune, chassis guys never touched any suspension, so we're doing all right. But anyway, let's hop out of this real quick and I'll show you guys the new intake and new injectors and all that. It ain't no Holly high ram or nothing crazy. It's not a BTR, but it's better than the Trailblazer SS. It's just a little sheet metal one. I love the way it looks. It's sleek looking. I like the black. It sits real low. It's nice. I really like it. I had to modify this. Cut a little bit off that, cut a little bit off that to make it work. Should be all right. Other than that, I mean, I cleaned up the engine bay a lot. Like all the harness is tucked under here now. So it's real clean. The only thing I have to do is I need to reroute these catch can lines, and I need to figure out a situation for the brake booster. I think I'm just going to run it underneath through the back with a 6AN line, because right now that's just how I used to have it. So it looks a little weird. Everything looks weird. All the hoses look weird with the new intake, but super happy with it. I like it. I'm excited to see how it performs. I'm excited to see if it makes more power at higher RPMs. But real happy with it. But anyway, that's all I got right now. Sorry for boring you guys. I just wanted to keep you guys in the loop and let you know what's been going on and where I've been, why I haven't uploaded. And next video we'll be doing some fuel tuning, driving around, maybe getting some pulls in, and back to the regular program. Definitely going to be going to the track soon because this fuel table needs some work. So going to be doing some testing and tuning, some street tuning. The slicks will be on soon. I still have them in the shed waiting to be mounted, but for now I'm going to go to the track on the radials, get everything dialed in, then we'll put the slicks on and have some fun this year. So everything's good. I mean, I got a couple things to do, button some things up, just clean some things up really. Other than that, I'm ready to go. I appreciate you guys for watching. Thanks for hanging in there. Like I said, sorry this is boring, but the good content will be coming soon. All right guys, have a good weekend, have a good Easter. I'll see you guys on the next upload.